So TP is a personal growth platform for professionals, entrepreneurs, writers, and podcasters to dream, be better, and evolve together. That's our mission statement. And since 2024, we have spoken to over 10,000 professionals, students, teachers, and ethnic minorities across Asia. If you're interested, there are other growth resources that you can tap into after this call. We have a podcast which you can find on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We also have multiple books related to parenting, self-development, and inspirational quotes, which you can find on Amazon. And from time to time, we partner up with thought leaders like Danny on different topics related to personal growth. We also organize monthly workshops, webinar, and once a year, we'll also do the Purpose Summit as well. And if you're interested, you can also be part of the community. And we have a community called the Purpose Club. And at the end of the presentation, I will tell you more details about what this Purpose Club is and how to join us. So before we start, just a quick question for all of you. Have you done breath work before?
All right. So the theme was basically how breath affects your work. Basically today, can we see the next slide? We'll kind of the objective of today is for you to get a bit better understanding how conscious breathing can affect everything in your life, but also in your body, but also how everything will affect you in your breathing. And for you to become aware of your breathing patterns so you can start taking control. And we'll finish with teaching a single breath meditation. So you actually have a nice tool that you can take with you and practice anywhere you go. All right, so when we talk about breathing patterns, most people actually who come to me, the first thing they say is that they don't know how to breathe properly. And I always tell them, well, you know enough to kind of made it this far. So I really don't like this whole idea that we do things wrong. I think we can do things better, right? And if you look at a natural breathing pattern, this is the breathing pattern we were born with. You can actually see, so the pink is an inhale, the blue is an exhale, and the yellow is a pause. So if you follow that line, it's almost like a little baby, right? Babies, their breath is completely unimpaired. So when a baby breathes in, his belly pops out, and then he relaxes, he lets go, the air flows out of him, and then there's a little pause. And then at one point, he just automatically just breathes in again, his belly pops out, and he lets go, and then there's another pause. And this kind of keeps on going until something happens and that he needs to use his breath in a different way. For instance, for crying because he wants attention, or something happens, right? But if as long as we're not aware of anything and we're in rest, then this is our natural breathing pattern. And that baby breath we still have inside us, although it might have been altered a little bit through physical constraints, mental constraints, stress. All that stuff will influence our breath. Can we see the next slide?
Yep.
So basically, why does the baby automatically breathe? First of all, it's directly related to our biochemistry, right? So the main purpose of breathing is ventilation, right? So we inhale oxygen. Oh, we're back to the main PowerPoint.
Oops.
But we breathe in oxygen, and the oxygen gets absorbed through the lungs, gets into the blood. The oxygen gets into the cells. Cellular respiration uses that oxygen to burn glucose, and it releases CO2. And that CO2 actually will trigger our breathing, right? And then when the CO2 reaches the lungs again, it will disperse into the lungs, and we're going to exhale the CO2. And that's basically a full breathing cycle, right? Now, the biochemistry will trigger our biomechanics, right? So it will trigger muscles for us to breathe. And at the same time, our breathing is directly related to our nervous system. right? Because when we move, our nervous system moves, and there's a lot of stuff in the brain happening through signals that we get through the biochemistry and biomechanics. And then we breathe for an energy system. In breathwork, we have a saying that the diaphragm is like our halfway house for emotions, right? So our emotions come in, they bounce on our diaphragm like a trampoline, and they go back out. And this is how we process emotions, right? And emotion, you could say, is like energy in motion. So all that will impair our breath, right? So when that little baby is just nice and breathing, and then you say boo, and it goes, and then it starts smiling, ha, 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 right? So it kind of processes all that energy of that little event, right? And this is actually how we still naturally relate to life. Everything that happens to us will reflect in our breathing through this system. But therefore, also when we can take control over our breathing, we can manipulate that system. And therefore, we can show up in the way we want to show up. All right, let's do a little exercise. Can we get the next slide? So when we talk about biochemistry, it's very abstract. But how can you feel it? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a breath hold together. And the breath hold will be 90 seconds, right? Trust me, I'm a freediving instructor. Everybody can technically hold their breath when they're sitting down for about 4 minutes without blacking out, right? So don't worry, right? However, we're only going to do 90 seconds, right? But you're going to go through 3 stages. Well, hopefully only 2, right? There's going to be a comfort stage. So when you take your first breath in and you hold your breath, you feel completely comfortable. Nothing happens. It's business as usual. That means actually that your oxygen levels are really high and your CO2 levels are really low. At one point, the CO2 levels rise, and that means that your blood acidity changes. You become a little bit more acidic, and the chemical receptors in your veins and in your brain will detect that there's a slight increase in CO2, and that actually creates an urge to breathe. So you're going to observe yourself becoming a little bit uncomfortable. Remember, this has got nothing to do with oxygen levels. This has only got to do with CO2 levels. And if you sit long enough with that discomfort, you might actually start getting physical responses. So your body's trying to start breathing you, but you can override that with your mind, right? So as freedivers, when I do a 5-minute breath hold, I sit through a lot of contractions. So my body's trying to breathe, and I just try to relax into that and just accept that my body's trying to breathe, but don't give in, right? Now, a lot of freedivers that go really more professional and start diving really, really deep, they can move their discomfort zone so they don't reach panic, right? Now, if you become so uncomfortable that you have to start breathing within that first 90 seconds, that means you actually entered the red zone. If you enter the red zone, please stop holding your breath and just start breathing, right? Because it's not my objective for you to panic. But you can train yourself actually to move that panic button all the way past your blackout zone, right? That's actually CO2 tolerance training. So we're gonna do a little exercise of 90 seconds. I will give you every 15 seconds. I'll let you know when we're at 15 seconds, and I want you to kind of like observe for yourself at around what time you start moving from comfort to discomfort. And maybe at a certain point you start feeling that contraction or that physical part of your body that's trying to react to the chemistry. And then of course, when you can't hold it to 90 seconds, then try to remember where you are in 90 seconds. All right. I can't see you, so you're on your own. You're responsible for your own well-being, right?
I can see everybody off my screen.
Okay, good.
I'll make sure we keep them safe.
So, Aaron, you're gonna play with us, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So we're gonna start with a nice exhale. And now we're going to do a full inhale and we're going to hold. And we hold and we start. Timer starts now. So once you hold that inhale, see if you can relax into it. See if you can let go of the tension in your shoulders, in your neck, in your throat, in your chest, in your belly, and really kind of relax into that nice state. Then you can even close your eyes. And most people will still feel very comfortable. So this is a breath hold of 30 up to now. "45 seconds. Just held your breath for 1 minute. You might start feeling a little bit warmer. You might start feeling a little bit stressed. "15 seconds. This is 1.5 minutes.
Oh.
Take a nice deep breath. And come back to normal breathing.
Is everyone still here with us?
I don't know. I can't see anybody. So, who was not able to finish? Aaron, I need you to be my eyes because I can't see people.
Yeah.
Did everybody finish the 90 seconds?
Did everyone finish? Yeah. Everyone is having their thumbs up.
Awesome. So nobody entered
Thumbs
the
up.
panic stage. That's fantastic. So who entered the discomfort stage? Anybody started feeling a little bit uncomfortable? So what did you feel? Can you, maybe people can type in the chat box what they felt, what they experienced. What did you feel, Aaron?
I feel sleepy so much. Sleepy when I breathe deeply.
You feel sleepy. Okay, good. We'll get to the nervous system later.
I started sweating.
You started sweating. Good.
Yeah.
So basically, that's one of the qualities of CO2 is actually a vasodilator. So the blood can flow easier and we get warmer. So that's good that you noticed that. Did anybody get contractions? Did anybody start feeling that the body's trying to squeeze a little bit? Did you feel that, Aaron?
Yeah. Felt a bit of, I think, tingly fingers.
Yeah, okay.
When I was near the 1 minute mark.
Yeah.
I think I kind of wanted to give up after a minute.
Okay.
What about other people?
Did you notice yourself tensing up a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Did anybody have any actual contractions of the diaphragm, trying to breathe? Nobody? Damn. Everybody was too relaxed. You felt pressure in your body, in your head, yeah. So you're gonna start creating that little pressure, right? So when we talk about biochemistry, this is actually what triggers our breathing. And this is why we can fall asleep and the body still breathes, just purely because of the chemistry that the body responds to and triggers movements of the breathing muscles. Right. So when we talk about the breathing muscles, I'm going to run through this a little bit because it's more to give you an overview of like what's involved with breathing, right? Can we see the next slide, Aaron? There we go. So this is how our breathing works. So the red bit is called our diaphragm. It's dome-shaped, and on the inhale, the diaphragm pulls down, right? Because it's muscles. Muscles can only contract when we activate them, right? So on the inhale, we activate the diaphragm. Diaphragm comes down, and therefore we create a negative pressure in the chest cavity, and the lungs fill up with air. So an inhale is actually, it's not that we pull the air in. No, what we do is we create space for the air to flow into us, right? And of course, on the exhale, we can actually squeeze to push the air out. But a normal breath, like remember that little baby, the inhale is active, so the diaphragm pulls down. And also between the ribs, they're intercostal muscles. And basically, when you eat spare ribs, those are the intercostal muscles, and they pull the ribcage open a little bit. So also creating a bit more space, right? This is how we create space. We breathe in, and that's active. And normally our exhale is passive, and we just let go, right? And then because we've expelled a lot of CO2, the body doesn't have to breathe. That's why there's a little pause afterwards, right? Now, so basically, if you want to feel your diaphragm, what you can do, you can put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Diaphragmatic breathing is when you breathe into your belly. Most people also call it belly breathing. When you inhale, you feel your bottom hand going up. And then when you breathe into the chest, you feel your top hand going up. Right? So you can actually do it in 2 stages. You can first breathe into your belly, then into your chest. Ideally, a lot of people say that the ideal way of breathing is only through the diaphragm. And really focus on the diaphragm. I kind of disagree because I think we need to develop all our breathing muscles. We have them for a reason, right? So for instance, when I'm tying my shoelaces, I'm bending over. I don't have a full diaphragmatic breath because my belly is being pushed in by my legs, right? So then my intercostal muscles have to take over for me to keep breathing, right? Or if I'm lifting heavy weights, I need to tighten my core to protect my back. That also means my intercostal muscles need to start taking over a little bit of that breath because I don't have a full diaphragmatic breath access, right? Now, a full yogic breath actually goes all the way from the belly. We pull the diaphragm down and we breathe into the belly. So the belly pops out on the inhale, right? Because when the diaphragm pushes down, it pushes out basically all the organs that are directly on the diaphragm, right? So we breathe in, belly pops out, and then the second space is in the chest. Chest pops out, and then actually there's a last space, and it's the extension of the thoracic cavity. Right? So those are 3 breathing spaces. And that's a full yogic inhale. Then we're fully full, right? And we cannot breathe in more than that. And then all we have to do is just let go and the air just flows out of us. Now, I assume everybody's sitting down. What you notice actually is that you probably cannot do a full yogic breath when you sit down. Especially people who wear pants. The pants will restrict the breath a lot. So that means that we start breathing more in our chest, right? Now, when we breathe in our chest, there are I forgot the word now, mechanoreceptors that respond to pressure. The upper part of our lungs, the mechanoreceptors stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight, right? So when we get scared, we do this. This is all in the upper part of the chest. Now, if we cannot breathe into our belly because it's impaired by our pants or by our belts, we start breathing more high up. Now, that means we're actually moving into our sympathetic nervous system. We're moving into fight or flight. We're not cool, calm, and collected, right? So just by our sitting posture, we already move a little bit more in a state of panic. It's very slight, but it influences you over the whole day, right? Also, the diaphragm gets lazy because there's a lot of pressure on the diaphragm. Actually, your belt pushes all your organs up. Diaphragm doesn't want to push down on that, so it's much easier to breathe just in your chest, right? That's why a lot of people have difficulty getting that breath nice down into the bottom of the lungs, right? Where actually in the bottom of the lungs, that's where we stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, and restore. But this is also the part where we feel safe, right? Fight or flight is narrow focus, performance. Rest and digest is like letting go, being calm, being able to look left and right. This is also where our creativity is more, right? If we want to be creative, we need to be able to look for new solutions. But if you can't breathe deep into your diaphragm, that means, and you're more in your sympathetic nervous system, that means you're actually less creative, right? Can we get the next slide, Aaron? All right, right. And there's another thing what happens.
Alan, next slide, please.
When we breathe in, actually between the lungs is the heart. So when we breathe in, we can see that not only there's more space for the lungs, for the air to flow in, but this also means that there's more space for the heart. So the heart on the inhale also expands a little bit because it gets more space. That means that there's less pressure in the heart, and there's a signal from the heart going to the brain with every pump, there's less blood being pumped through the system. So on the inhale, there's a signal going back from the brain to speed up your heart rate. Now on the exhale, there's more pressure on the heart, so there's more pressure behind every pump. So the heart signals like, oh, we're pumping more blood through the system with every pump. So now the brain signals back to the heart to slow down. This is what we call heart rate variability, right? Now that heart rate variability becomes higher when we breathe slower because there's more time for the body to respond, right? And we also all know like a high heart rate has to do with being very activated, where a low heart rate is about being really calm, right? So if you want to become more calm and you have a long extended exhale, that means that we're building up the pressure on the heart and the body has time to respond to that long exhale. Heart rate will start to drop, right? So if we want to be more activated, what we do is we actually focus on inhaling fast and actively, right? Next slide, please. So if we want to balance out a nervous system, which is actually, being completely neutral, so we can actually flip-flop from being active or being passive, we can actually do balanced breathing. So we can actually do like a 4 count in and a 4 count out. And this is how you balance out your nervous system. And you can start playing with that. So if you're a little bit hyper and you want to calm down because you have an important meeting to go to, you can actually extend your exhale, right? How are we on time, Aaron? I forgot what time we started.
It's now 22:12.
Yeah, but what time did we start?
I think we started about 11:20.
Oh, we're 20 minutes in already.
Yeah.
All
Does
right.
anyone have any questions so far? You want to ask Danny before he continues? I'm curious, any of you who has incorporated some sort of breathing exercise into your daily routine? Has anyone? Maybe come off the mic and share.
Yes. Yes, before sleeping and waking up.
Yep. And how do you do it?
So basically, I do 3 counts of 30, let's say 30 in, and then pause for 1 to 2 minutes, breath hold. Yeah, and it helps me to wake up more focused and to sleep more relaxed.
Great. Actually, that's a nice cue actually, because let's do this. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do 20 breaths, but quite vigorous. So we're going to go fully in, fully out. After 20 breaths, I'm going to ask you to do a passive exhale. So you just, after the last inhale, you let go. And then you're going to pause. And remember, you don't have to breathe because you've just expelled a lot of CO2. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to observe all the little sensations in your body. That's all your own energy. Every sensation you have is an energetic pattern, right? And with our breath, we can actually start expanding them, right? So everybody ready? Aaron, you're responsible to tell me if anybody passes out from hyperventilation, right? So take your hands, put them on the table in front of you. Breathe through your mouth. And we're going to breathe as if we're have to breathe really, really hard because we just ran up a mountain, right? So we're going to start with a nice exhale. And here we go. In. Move your body. Five more. 2 more. Last one. And let go. And just pause, close your eyes, lean back, and just observe your body and do nothing. You don't even have to breathe. You might feel a little bit dizzy. You might feel some tingling. You might feel a change in temperature. You might become aware of energy in your limbs, in your face, in the back of your head, on the crown. Just do a full body scan. You can hold your breath all the way into that orange zone. And then once you reach that orange zone, where you feel that urge to breathe, you take a nice full breath in and you hold it for another 30 seconds. Gently come back. How was that? Aaron, did you feel that?
I was definitely dizzy.
Good.
Did anyone feel that? I'm I'm getting sweaty palms. I'm getting sweat on my forehead.
Good. So this is your system in full operation, right? So you can see how much, if you breathe fast and full, or if you breathe slow and shallow, like how much of a change that can make in your nervous system, in your biochemistry, in your overall composure, right? So when we start combining all of that, there's this thing called a physiological sigh. So can we see the next slide, Aaron? And I'm going to run through this because I realize we're running way over time. Physiological sigh, basically it's a full inhale. So you do a full inhale. You do a little bit more. And then you're just going to let go. And you're expelling all that CO2. You're expelling all that bad stuff that triggers your anxiety. And you're going to gently exhale, 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 exhale. Triggering also your parasympathetic nervous system, putting pressure on your heart by the exhale. So your heart slows down. And then you breathe in. That's the fastest way to come off stress and anxiety. Right? So when children are sighing, it's actually they're trying to they're trying to regulate their nervous system. Right? So we make kids wrong for sighing. Please don't. Let them do their sigh because actually their system knows what it's doing, right? So that's a physiological sigh. But can we see the next slide? At the end of the day, the art of transformational breathwork, the spiritual breathwork, to get inspired or respiration, it's got the term spirit in there, right? And somebody said once, like, our breaths live. Our spirit lives in the breath. And that's very beautiful. So if you know that, then your breath can actually create a bridge between your mind, your body, and your spirit. And the whole idea of that is that you say yes to life. Instead of that you become reactive, you take charge. And all you have to do is to open and expand, open your heart and open your lungs. And all you have to do is to really fully enjoy life and make things happen is to relax and let go. And let go of everything that doesn't serve you. Let go of that CO2 that doesn't serve you. Let go of the toxins that don't serve you. Let go of the beliefs that don't serve you. So I want to conclude today's session with the one breath that I would like everybody to practice as much as they can. Can we see the next slide? Aaron, can we see the next slide? So this is the sigh of relief. So it's not a physiological sigh. And what you see is actually the inhale is a little bit longer. And it's not 2 stages, but we go just to full. Not maximum full, just full. And the whole idea is that we're going to combine our awareness and our breathing. So on that inhale, we're going to take our time. We're going to try to fill up all the way from the bottom. So we're going to breathe into our belly, into our chest. And then we're just going to surrender to that fullness and we're just going to let go. And we're going to end up in neutral. So we're not going to end up empty. So that there's no breath coming back in. No, we're just going to let go to neutral. And we're going to hover in that neutral and we're going to observe ourselves. And basically what we're looking for is tension. We're looking for tension patterns in the body that are restricting our inhale. And we want to become aware of it, and then letting go, we're trying to let go of that tension. And then we're going to hover in that space where we're relaxed. Because once we become relaxed and we're open, this is when we can take in much more information. And this is also how we come back home. When we're stressed and anxious, our spirit is in front of us a little bit. We're living in the future. So we can come back to ourselves. And so when you're speaking and I take a sigh, I take everything in. I'm open. I open myself up to the information you're giving me, and I track how my body and my mind-body system is responding to whatever you're saying. So instead of just listening with my head, I start listening with my heart and with my gut. And I tune in to whatever you're saying, how my system wants to react to that. And instead of reacting to it, I actually take back control. And I choose how to respond in that moment of silence. And this sigh of relief, or like my mentor Dan Brulé likes to call it, the homecoming breath, is a tool we have with us all day long. If you're on stage and you have to give a presentation, start with a sigh. Take in whatever's happening in the space and understand how your body is responding to this new situation. Let go of everything of that doesn't serve you. So there's a little bit of anxiety there that does serve you, right? There's a healthy anxiety, keeps you sharp. But let go of the unhealthy anxiety, like, oh, what if I take up too much time? What if people don't like me? Let go of that anxiety. Become aware that we have these kind of anxieties. At that moment, you really start showing up as you, your authentic self. And people will respond to that because you become grounded in knowing who you are. So everybody, let's finish with a nice deep sigh. Notice the tension we're holding. See if we can let go. And just enjoy your breath. And with every new inhale, you can find more details. Details of pleasure, details of tension. And with every breath, enlarge those space of pleasure and see if you can let go of that space of tension. This breath you can practice 50 times an hour. Do it a lot, make it part of your system. Make it a natural response first. If somebody asks your name, don't respond first. Take a breath first. Somebody asked my name. I'm Danny. Nice to meet you too. Right? Take a breath, take a pause. Create space in time with that breath so you can start responding and stop reacting. And this is how breathing can really, really enhance your work and enhance how you show up at work and enhance how you show up for the people around you. Now, transformational breathwork is basically this one sigh of relief, but then consciously and connected. So we always stay open and we start moving a lot of energy, right? This will help relieve self-limiting beliefs. It can help us repattern our belief system. It can help us integrate trauma. And it really helps us to eventually find enlightenment. And if there will be a quicker way of breathing than rebirthing breathwork that I facilitate mainly, I would do that. But rebirthing breathwork is the fastest way to do that. So if anybody has a question now, let me know. If you have questions later, you can always email me at danny@thebreathingpattern.com. The pattern you see above my email, if you know what pattern that is, it's a breathing pattern. If you know what that breathing pattern stands for, you can let us know in the comments, or you can just shout it out if you think you know what it is.
Do they get a prize, Danny, if they get it right?
No, but they'll if you get it right, that is the prize.
Hey, how about this? I'll throw in a copy of my book. If any one of you gets it right, I'll send you a copy of my book signed to your office or your home, free of charge.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Actually, you can choose. You can either choose my journal, or well, you can't see it here. You can either choose my journal or a copy of Unstuck. And to reward you for trying, actually, doesn't matter you get it right or wrong. Whoever gets it first, whoever wants to try first, will get it. Any taker? I don't know actually, Danny.
All right, just follow the pattern.
Reply On the chat.
You replied on the chat. I don't see that anything.
Actually, I can't see it either. Let's see.
Maybe you replied in the wrong chat.
Oh, did you
No.
direct?
Yeah, in the meeting chat.
Yeah.
He's
Did you send it to-
laughing. He's laughing.
Laughing?
Yeah.
Is it laughing, Danny?
It is laughing.
Woohoo!
You can follow the exhale. Ha, 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 ha. And then you start again.
Well done, Danella. Thanks for trying. Well, let me know your. I'll share my email and WhatsApp with you. You can send me your address, and I'll get the team to send you a copy of that. Well, everybody, that brings us to the end. Danny, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge around how people can incorporate breath work into their day-to-day. And I was literally amazed just by doing the 20 breathing
breaths?
exercise. Yeah, the exercise with you already brought out a lot of my sweats that I felt in my palms, in my forehead. And I think one of the things that a lot of people are struggling, and I hear it daily, is not being able to be present in the current environment. And it was so powerful, just how a little exercise like that you've shared with us. Actually, many exercises that you've shared with us today can help us achieve that impact. For those who join us on the call today, thank you so much for dialing in. My intention is that we will invite different speakers, such as Danny, to come and share so that we can help people to grow, learn new knowledge, and as a community, we can evolve together. If you don't mind, I'll just have a couple of slides just to close off. If you want to understand what the Purpose Club is, Danny is actually one of our founding members, and all of the information you can find on our website, www.transformingpurpose.com. And we currently have 17 paid members across Hong Kong, US, and Australia.